Blood Message is a narrative-driven, single-player, third-person action-adventure from NetEase Games and 24 Entertainment's Linan Studio. It follows a nameless messenger and his young son on a perilous eastward journey through the final years of China's Tang Dynasty. The pair becomes entangled in an uprising centered on Dunhuang, and their mission is to deliver a message that could decide the fate of their war-torn homeland. The story is explicitly framed as a tribute to ordinary people, rather than emperors and generals, an ode to the unsung heroes history often overlooks. The game is set in 848 AD, during the late Tang period. From the deserts around Shazhou, Dunhuang, to the imperial capital of Chang'an, the protagonists face sieges, harsh wilderness, and hostile forces, while crossing roughly 3,000 li, about 1,000 miles across East and Central Asia. These specifics come directly from the announcement materials and the official site, which emphasize tangible landmarks and customs from the era to ground the narrative in a recognizable historical moment. Blood Message is positioned as a linear, story-driven, single-player action-adventure. The developers describe cinematic storytelling supported by visceral, realistic combat with stealth and survival elements. The tone leans into grit and mortality rather than power fantasy, and the themes it foregrounds, family, honor, sacrifice, and cultural identity, are meant to give the violence and hardship narrative weight rather than spectacle alone. These pillars are spelled out in NetEase's reveal and reiterated in coverage that followed. The project is built in Unreal Engine 5 and, according to NetEase, benefits from proprietary tools developed by the team to heighten immersion. Early footage highlights sweeping desert vistas, storm-lashed passes, and intimate character beats presented with dramatic, filmic framing. Press coverage has drawn attention to the historical texture in the art direction, including references tied to Dunhuang's cultural heritage, as well as the overall high-gloss production sheen typical of modern UE5 showcases. Development is led by 24 Entertainment Linan Studio, part of NetEase's Thunderfire organization. NetEase Games is the publisher and describes Blood Message as its first AAA single-player title, a strategic milestone for a company better known globally for online and multiplayer hits. Game Informer's reporting places Blood Message alongside other NetEase efforts to expand beyond service-led projects, while the official press release situates the game as a flagship for the publisher's cinematic single-player ambitions. At its core, the story centers on a father and son caught between duty to country and love for family. The messenger's task is simple in principle: carry a message to Chang'an, but the route becomes an ordeal shaped by collapsing institutions and shifting allegiances. The marketing language returns to the same refrain: when official histories forget, warriors remember. This framing suggests a grounded, human-scale point of view in a grand historical canvas, with the pair's relationship driving decisions as much as battlefield pressures do. Although the studio hasn't published a blow-by-blow systems breakdown, what's been said is consistent. Expect third-person traversal through hostile terrain, punctuated by melee-forward combat that looks weighty and lethal rather than balletic, with stealth and survival influencing how encounters play out. The overall pacing skews authored rather than open world, aiming to keep the camera and cuts focused on character and momentum. Those expectations are drawn from the publisher's listed features and the first-wave previews summarizing that reveal. Blood Message draws directly from Dunhuang's uprisings in the mid-9th century and the broader turbulence on the Tang Empire's western frontier. NetEase's materials talk about honoring countless ordinary people and making the landscape and customs of the period part of the narrative texture, rather than mere backdrop. Media coverage echoes that pitch, noting the way the game spotlights lesser-told perspectives in Chinese history and folds them into a prestige, big-budget presentation meant for a global audience. The game is officially announced for PC and consoles. As of now, there is no release date and no specific platform list beyond that broad statement. The publisher has not confirmed features such as difficulty options, accessibility settings, monetization approach, or post-launch plans. The official site invites players to subscribe for updates and mentions the possibility of global playtests, but those tests have not been dated or detailed publicly.